One of my biggest concerns is that as linguistics progress, a lot of African people or people who are interested in African history seem to deny reality. But let us talk about why I have these numbers on the screen. So I have Yoruba numbers and I have Igala numbers. For anyone outside of the West African areas, these numbers appear to be gibberish, even to people who are Bantu speakers. So let's first look at the Yoruba numbers because those are the ones that are going to be the most confusing. Okun, Eje, Eta, Erin, Arun, Efa, Eje, Ejo, Esan, Ewa. These numbers look nothing like that of the Bantu languages, but I insist that they are very much related, so much so that to me they are more evidence of a tie than even genetics. I know this might not be very interesting to some people, but it is interesting to me, so I will talk about it. So, I want to show here that we are one with the people of West Africa. So, the Igala language is from West Africa, especially in Nigeria. And here's a example of where it can be found within Nigeria.
Igala language is not only spoken in Kogi State. Igala language is also spoken in some neighboring states such as Edo State, Delta State, Anambra State, Nasarawa State, Enugu State, and Benue State.
Feel free to watch the original channel. They do videos, especially on Igala, the language. So if we get back to business, we can see here that the numbers in Igala are very similar to those mentioned in Yoruba, except there's one modification, and that is the number one. The number one in Yoruba is Okan. I don't know how to pronounce it. But the number one in Igala is Inye. This is pretty strange because the number one in every Bantu language, at least there is a version of this letter, this number, is Inye. But isn't that only just one number? Well, maybe not. If for now we ignore the number two, which is Eji, and we look at Eta, it's actually very similar to Tatu in Bantu languages, especially if you use other West African languages that have this word in a different way. The next few numbers seem to be switched over the N and the U. So, in other words, if we look at Yoruba, the number four, Erin, would be Zine in the Bantu languages and Ele in Igala. Then, if you look at five, it's Elu, which in the Bantu languages would be Sanu, and five in Yoruba would be Arun. You can see here that there's a clear similarity, but you need to combine these two languages in order to get the similarities. Now, I will spare you by not looking through the other numbers. What else can we know about Igala? Well, here's an interesting fact. The word for water, which I have many times on many occasions shown that it is related to almost every single type of language in Africa, here is represented through the Proto Bantu languages. As you can see there in Proto Yoruboid, it's Aji. Okay, let's start with the Bantu word. The Bantu word for it is Manzi. And then you can see here, Proto-Yoruboid Aji, Igala Aji is a river or a type of body of water. In Aragidi, it's Eji. In Aragidi, Uji. In Aja, Eji. Aja or Eji. In Fon, it's G, which means rain. likely originally served as a synonym for water or any water related noun in Proto Yoruboid before becoming defined more narrowly. The root verb ji may be cognate with je, to flow or to run as water. Compare with eje, current, tide, or of water, possibly from the root Proto Niger Congo ji, maji, in other words. Judging by the number one and the rest of the language, I can see the number one if it was borrowed instead of something that came from grassroots or from the roots of both languages. I can see it moving from the Niger type languages more than the Congo type of languages. And the reason why I can see that is because ing is just so weird in the Bantu languages compared to the rest of the words. Whereas ing in their language, the next one's like edgy and blah blah blah, it makes sense that that would be part of their language in terms of what they say in terms of numbers. Now, these people, of course, belong to some of the greatest civilizations, or the Igala Great Civilization, that span a quite a big area. And of course, colonization became the order of the day in the 1900s, so we do need to explore exactly what happened to these people and how did they come to be so diverse within Nigeria, and what tribes exactly did they belong to, and who were they kings.